In the cold silence of deep space, the starship Avalon glides steadily toward a new world, Homestead 2. On board are over 5,000 colonists and crew members, all in suspended animation for the 120-year journey. The ship, operated by sophisticated AI and automated systems, is a self-sustaining marvel. But then, something goes wrong. A collision with a micrometeorite breaches the ship's shielding. Alarms sound, systems falter, but the ship continues, seemingly unharmed. Unnoticed, however, the damage has begun a silent chain reaction. Suddenly, one of the hibernation pods malfunctions. Jim Preston, a mechanical engineer from Earth, awakens, groggy and disoriented. At first, he believes it's time to disembark, but the ship is too quiet. He soon discovers he's the only person awake, and it's only 30 years into the trip. There are 90 years left. He can't return to hibernation. There's no backup system for that. He tries everything, messages to Earth, hacking crew quarters, exploring the ship's grand amenities, but it becomes clear he's alone. For over a year, Jim lives in isolation. He finds some comfort in Arthur, a humanoid bartender with a polite smile and programmed wisdom. But the crushing loneliness begins to eat away at Jim's sanity. He contemplates suicide. Then, he finds her. While wandering the passenger hibernation bays, Jim comes across Aurora Lane, a journalist and writer from New York. Through her video logs, he learns about her dreams, her humor, her ambition to live a life worth writing about. She becomes more than a face on a screen, she becomes a lifeline. Contemplating the consequences for months and confiding in Arthur, Jim makes an impossible decision. He manually wakes her up. When Aurora wakes, he pretends her pod, like his, simply malfunctioned. After a period of denial, she accepts this and, in her own confusion and despair, turns to Jim for companionship. They begin to bond. They share meals, dance in zero gravity, and slowly fall in love. For a while, it's a paradise in a gilded cage. For two people in an unlucky situation, they are pretty lucky to have found each other. Aurora begins writing again, seeing this bizarre twist in her life as a story unfolding. One night, while chatting with Arthur, Aurora learns the truth. Jim chose to wake her up. Devastated and furious, she feels utterly violated. He didn't just steal her future, he took away her choice. Aurora retreats, consumed by anger and grief. She avoids Jim at all costs, even physically attacking him at one point. The man she loved has become a stranger, a captor in her eyes. And then, as their personal world crumbles, the ship's systems begin to fail. Small malfunctions occur, screens flicker, the gravity inside the ship goes haywire. A new player enters, Gus Mancuso, a senior crew member whose pod also malfunctioned, likely triggered by the growing instability in the ship's systems. Gus, however, is in rough shape. His body is shutting down from hibernation sickness, but before he dies, he gives Jim and Aurora access to the ship's command systems. Together, they discover the source of the malfunctions. The micrometeorite strike had crippled the ship's reactor. If not repaired, the ship will fail entirely, killing everyone still asleep. Jim volunteers for the dangerous repair. It requires manually venting the fusion reactor from the outside, a task that could easily kill him. Aurora watches him go, still filled with anger but also fear. She can't let him die. The repair nearly kills Jim. He's blasted into space, his tether snapping. Aurora risks everything to retrieve him, pulling him back inside and reviving him with the ship's medical pod. In that moment, something shifts. She sees his humanity, his sacrifice, his remorse. Later, they discover that the medical pod can put someone back into hibernation. Jim offers Aurora the chance to go back to sleep and reach Homestead 2 as she originally intended. But she chooses differently. She chooses life, not the one she planned, but the one she has, with him. 88 years later, the ship's crew awakens on schedule. They step into the grand concourse and find it transformed, filled with vines, trees, flowers, and signs of two lives lived fully. Aurora's final voiceover, taken from her writings, tells their story, how they built a world together, found meaning in isolation, and turned a doomed accident into something beautiful. Passengers is a visually stunning sci-fi romance that sparks big questions about morality, isolation, and love in the cold vacuum of space. The film starts as a survival drama, shifts into a love story, and then leans into thriller territory, sometimes struggling to balance its tones. Overall, I give Passengers a 7.7 for the chemistry between Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, the sleek production design, and the emotional stakes that give it a compelling edge.